Hello friends, so we are studying life processes. Okay. So in introductory session we have already know what is life, what is living organism, what is the difference between the living and non-living organism, and also we know that what is life processes. Okay, in which first life process which we are studying is nutrition. And in the nutrition we have studied it two types. First is autotrophic mode of nutrition and the other is heterotrophic nutrition. So in the autotrophic mode of nutrition we have already know that plant are the autotrophs and they produce their own food, and so they are called autotrophs, and this is a mode of autotrophic nutrition. And I would like to tell you that because the plant produce their own food, so they also call producers. Okay. Then today we will study heterotrophic mode of nutrition, which is another type of nutrition. Okay. And today we will study the heterotrophic nutrition before we go to the human digestive system. So what is heterotrophic mode of nutrition? Hetero means different or other. Okay. Hetero means other and trophic means we know nutrition. Okay. So some organism we know that plant they produce their own food, but all the other organism they are dependent on the other organism, on the other source of nutrition for their nutrition demand. Okay. So the organism which are dependent on other source nutrition, they are called heterotrophic nutrition. As we know that we don't produce our own food in our body, we take it from the plants, we take it from the animal source, like we take milk. Okay, we take milk, we take fish, we take meat. Okay, so this is what we are dependent on the other source of nutrition. Also we take the nutrition from the plants, so we don't produce our own food. So like us, all many of the other organisms, they are dependent on the other source of nutrition like the plants and the animals, and they are called heterotrophs. Okay, and they also called consumers because they consume other organism. Okay, so they are also called as consumers. Okay, then we will define heterotrophic nutrition. So heterotrophic mode of nutrition is a type of nutrition in which organism is dependent on other organism for their need of nutrition. Okay. So in the heterotrophic nutrition or the heterotrophs, they are dependent on the other organism for their nutrition and they do not produce their own nutrition like the autotrophs. Okay. Okay. We also can define it in other words, it is a type of nutrition in which organism write down, organism derive their energy by intake of food derived from other sources like autotrophs and animals. Okay. So, heterotrophs, they derive their energy because they need energy for all their other biological activities. So, they need to produce energy, but to produce energy they take the food from the autotrophs or the other animals, and then they derive their energy. So, in the heterotrophic mode of nutrition, the organism is dependent on the other source of nutrition. Okay. Now, the animals and the fungi, which are non-green plants, and bacteria also, some bacteria are autotrophs and some are heterotrophs in nutrition. So, these are all living organisms which are called heterotrophs. Okay. And fungi and human being, other animals of animal kingdom, all the animals, they derive their source of energy from the other other autotrophs or other animals. Okay. So, in this way we have defined the heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Heterotrophic mode of nutrition can be of three types. What are the subtypes of heterotrophic nutrition? So, first is herbivorous, carnivores and omnivores. Okay. So, I know that you all must know these terms. Herbivores are which are dependent on the herbs or plant source. They only eat plant source or autotrophs, and they are called herbivores, like cow and the deer, which these are the animals which eat upon the plant's source. Okay, we have seen cow eating up on the grasslands. Okay, then the carnivores. Carnivores are the animal which are dependent on the other animals for their source of food. So, like tiger, like lion. Okay, they are dependent on the other animals, they eat other animals and so they are called carnivores. Then omnivores. Omnivores are the animal who eat both the sources, plant and the animal, both the sources they take as a food, like the cat, like the mouse, they eat upon both of the sources. So, this is the type of heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Okay, one terminology we all should know if we are studying the nutrition. One terminology we study like parasite. So, in this mode of nutrition, the organism is dependent on one organism for its nutrition, and it absorbs directly its nutrition, and they are called parasites. Like we know the amar bale, which is a plant and which is dependent on the other tree for its nutrition. Okay, and we also know the head lice, which is also an organism which is parasitic mode of nutrition, and we also know some worms, okay, like roundworms, okay, like tapeworms, which are the intestinal worms, and they are parasitic in their nutrition. So, these are called parasites, and this is called parasitic mode of nutrition. Okay, then okay. Fungi, we also know fungi. What is the mode of nutrition of fungi? They are also heterotrophs. Okay, and what they do is these are the heterotrophic animals. What they do, they break down the macromolecules of nutrition into the simple molecules, and then they absorb it and they derive energy from it. Okay, but in this mode of breaking down of a large particle of food into the small particle of food, what they do, some do this process external to their body and some do this process internal to the body. Like fungi are also heterotrophic mode of nutrition, they are also heterotrophs, and what they do is, if you have seen the bread molds, what they do, the bread mold is a rhizophus fungi, and what they do, they digest the food particles external to the body by secreting some enzymes. Okay, and then they absorb the simple molecules or simple particles of food inside their body, and then they derive the energy. But except this mode of nutrition, many of other animals, what they do, they ingest the food inside their body and then they break down the large molecules of food into the small molecules of food, and then they absorb it. Then this nutrition goes to every cell of body, and then every cell of body derive the energy from this simple particles of food. And this type of digestion of food is called, what it is called? Holozoic nutrition. Okay. So what is digestion? Digestion is a chemical and physical process. Okay. What is digestion? Digestion is physical and chemical process, physical and chemical process in which organism break down large particle or large food particle in small particle and make it easy to absorb. Okay, so what it is? Digestion is what? Physical and chemical process in which an organism, it break downs the large food particles into the small food particles. Okay, so digestion can be external to the body, like I have told you, fungi do that. Okay, what they do? They digest the food external to the body and then they absorb that digested food. But many other organisms, they digest the food inside their body. In this process of digestion, there are some sub processes are involved, like, and this is called the Holozoic nutrition, in which holo means whole and zoic means in animals. So the whole process of digestion is going on into the body and cell, so it is called as Holozoic nutrition. Okay, in which some processes are involved, like ingestion. Okay, ingestion means intake of food. Okay, then digestion. Okay, digestion means already I told you. Okay, then absorption. Absorption means to absorb the simple food particles or simplest food particles, okay, by the body is called the absorption. And then assimilation. Assimilation means supply, okay, or provision of the smallest food particles to every cell of body is called assimilation. Like we eat our food, okay, in our digestive system, it get digested, okay, then from the small intestine where the smallest particle are there, they get absorbed by our small intestine, and they get the smallest food particles, they get into the blood circulation, okay. When the intestine absorb the smallest food particle or digested food, then it goes into the blood circulation. Then the assimilation process start. Why? Because the blood circulation, it circulate into the whole body, and then via blood the digested food or nutrition, it goes into every cell of our body. Then our cells, they utilize this food and they derive energy from it. Then okay, and then the last process is digestion. Okay, what happens when we take food? Now not whole food is converted into the simplest food particle, and some part of the intake food converted into some waste material, what we do not take, okay. So some food particle which is remained after the assimilation into the digestive system, it get expelled from the body, and which is a waste material, and it needs to get expelled, and this process of expelling the waste material after the digestion is called the digestion, okay. So this is the 5 processes which are involved into the digestion. Now we know what is heterotrophic nutrition, and we know what is holozoic nutrition. Now first of all, in simple organism, in amoeba, which is a unicellular organism, we will see what kind of digestion or what kind of digestive system it has. So we are now looking at nutrition in amoeba. Okay friends, so now we are looking at nutrition in amoeba, how amoeba evolve its nutrition. Okay, so amoeba, what amoeba is? It is a unicellular organism, it is a living being, okay, it is a one-celled organism, okay. So amoeba, ये जो रहता है amoeba, it reside in very deep into the water, and it derives its energy, or it derives its nutrition from the microorganism like diatoms, which are very microscopic plants, bacterias, okay, diatoms, bacterias, algae, okay, and okay, then what is the mode of nutrition? It is heterotrophic. It is omnivorous, okay, we have seen it eats plants and animals both, okay, because it eats some protozoans and nematodes, okay. Nematodes are what? These are the one of the phylum from Nematoda, and nematodes are animal kingdom, they are from animal kingdom. So in this way the amoeba eat up the plant source also, the algae also, the protozoa and the animal, okay. So it is called as omnivorous. Then digestion type is holozoic. The whole process of digestion occurs in its body, so it is called the holozoic in nutrition. Okay, now we will see all the process in the amoeba which we have seen. What are the process of digestion? These are, first is ingestion. So how amoeba takes up its food? So amoeba's body is very flexible, and it makes finger like projection from its body, and with this finger like projection it moves, okay, it does its locomotion, it moves from one place to other place, and also it takes its food with the help of this finger like projection. So what are these finger like projection called? These are called pseudopodia. Okay. So amoeba, its cell wall is very flexible and it can convert its cell wall into finger like projection. Okay. So whenever amoeba see its food, what it does, it makes finger like projection. Okay. This is food particle, okay, and these are pseudopodia. Why these are called pseudopodia? Because pseudo means false, podia means legs. So with the help of these finger like projection, it moves. I have already tell you that it moves with the help of this pseudopodia, these finger like projection. So they are also called pseudopodia, the false legs of amoeba. And with this pseudopodia, it surrounds the food particle, and then it completely surround it, okay, then it completely surround it and form a vacuole type, okay, vacuole type structure, okay, and this vacuole is called food vacuole because it has food into it, okay. Then what happens? This vacuoles, it detach from the cell wall, then it comes into the center, okay. Now you can see the food vacuoles came into the center. So first of all, it ingested the food particle, and this process is called ingestion, okay. So how it is ingesting its food? By making the finger like projection, which are called pseudopodia, and it surrounds the food particle, and then they form the vacuoles, and then this vacuole comes into the center. Then what happens? Then comes the digestion. When the food vacuoles came into the center, so there are enzymes into the center and they digest the food particles and they convert it into the very simple molecules of food particle. Okay, then what happens? They are ready to absorb. Okay, so digestion in center or cell. ठीक है, ingestion by pseudopodia. Okay, then the food which has been digested is absorbed by the cytoplasm by diffusion. Okay, diffusion के द्वारा जो फूड है वो साइटोप्लाज्म जो सेल का फ्लूइड होता है, साइटोप्लाज्म कहते हैं उसे. सो द एब्जॉर्प्शन इज डन बाय द साइटोप्लाज्म ऑफ सेल. देन हैपेंस द assimilation. So the food has came into the cytoplasm, and one of the process which happens into the cytoplasm is called cyclosis, in which the cytoplasm is continuously moving into the cell in a cycle, and this streaming of cytoplasm is called cyclosis. Okay, and by this process the nutrition, the simple molecules of food are reaching to every part of cell by the cyclosis of cytoplasm. Okay. Now, all the cell organelles of amoeba, they can use up the nutrition. So, by assimilation the food is reaching to all the organs, all the organelles of amoeba. Okay. Then happens egestion. Okay. Then the particles which are not digested or which are not good for nutrition, they are the waste material for the amoeba, and then they form a vacuoles, and then this vacuole is egested by the reverse process in which the intake of food happen. In this reverse process the egestion of waste material occur. Okay. What happens? I will show you in a diagram. What happens? That the waste material, it forms a vacuoles, contractile vacuole, okay, which is slowly reach to the cell wall, and then when it reaches to the cell wall, the vacuoles burst out. Okay, it punctured, it burst out, and then the waste material get releases to the outside. Okay, in this way. Okay, in this way the waste material get released from the body, and this process is called the egestion. Okay, so egestion by bursting of contractile vacuole. Okay. So, in these processes an amoeba takes up its nutrition, and these are the processes which are involved into the digestion. Okay. So, we have now seen that how amoeba, okay, it derive its nutrition and then derive its energy. Okay. So, this is a mode of nutrition in the amoeba. Okay. One of the single cell unicellular organism which is paramecium, how it derive its nutrition, because we have seen that amoeba, it makes a pseudopodia and then it derive its nutrition. But how paramecium takes the food? Paramecium has hair like projection on its body. Okay, how it's, okay, it has cilia which is called cilia, which are hair like projection on its body, and paramecium moves by continued beating up of these cilia, and also it takes its food by beating up of these cilia also. But the, okay, how we have seen that amoeba, it does not have any opening, okay, or mouth by which it can ingest the food, but what it does, it makes pseudopodia, and then with the help of these it takes its nutrition. But paramecium, it has a pharynx or gullet in its body, okay, like this. One opening is there on the cell wall, and via this opening the food comes inside. Okay, but whenever a paramecium, it see its food, what it does, its cilia are beating up very fast and it reaches to the food, and then by beating up of cilia the food comes into the pharynx or gullet. Okay, so this opening is called pharynx or gullet, and then by this gullet the food get into inside, and all the other processes are same, but only the difference is the paramecium has an opening or mouth or pharynx by which it ingest the food. Okay. So, this is the difference between the nutrition or mode of nutrition in amoeba and the paramecium. Okay. So, now we have seen one example of Holozoic nutrition in the amoeba. Now, we will see the human digestive system.